Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. Although today we're actually going to be talking more about the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG. Their latest ban list just came out, and I've been kind of spotty on how often I actually cover TCG and OCG ban lists. Usually I only cover them when I feel like I really have some thoughts to share, and those thoughts aren't always the most accurate because I don't play either format. You know, I only play Master Duel. But when it comes to the OCG in particular, that format in general is a lot more closely aligned with Master Duel, and I also tend to follow that a little bit more in the TCG as a result. So I feel like we can take a look at some of these ban list hits, kind of compare them to the current Master Duel format, and think about if these would be good changes there, and kind of have a discussion from there. So, starting right up at the top here, we're seeing that they are banning branded expulsion in the OCG, which I did remember noting at some point that this was still legal, or really there was a Master Duel only ban. I'm very much in favor of this. Obviously, branded is going to get more follow-up support, and making sure that they can't do these like toxic, you know, putting a card on your opponent's field to lock them out. I think stopping them from doing that is a really good call. I'm still in the camp, over a year later, I think it's been over a year at this point that I've been saying this, but I am still in the camp that definitely thinks that Albion Sanctifier should join branded expulsion. Really, at the end of the day, there are just a lot of cards that you use in archetypes that'll lock you into that archetype that were never intended or designed to go onto the opponent's field. So I think rather than going through and banning a bunch of cards like the DED stuff, right? And especially because a lot of those DED cards are actually pretty good for DDD decks that they use to lock like Orthos and stuff. I think rather than banning those and hurting other decks, banning Expulsion and also Albion Sanctifier is the right call, in my opinion. Now, Albion Sanctifier does have a lot more utility than branded Expulsion does. Like, branded Expulsion, you're really only using that to put those toxic Floodgate stuff on the opponent's field, right? Well, it's really only toxic when branded is putting it on the opponent's field. Again, if a DD deck is playing Orthos and locking itself into Fiends or DD monsters, that's totally fine. But anyway, I will admit, though, that of course Albion Sanctifier has a lot more utility other than that, whereas branded expulsion really is only used for setting up this kind of lock. So I think this is fine, and I understand why Albion Sanctifier isn't on here. I'll freely admit that Albion Sanctifier being banned is more something I want and I think should happen. I think it's a really important distinction to make when you're talking about ban lists that nobody does, because, I don't know, I'll say it. I just think everybody thinks they're right. I mean, that's not even a hot take, right? I think there's a really important, like, self-awareness, though, to be able to say, like, I'd like for this to be banned, but I don't really think it should be. I think more people should be open to that kind of mindset, as opposed to thinking, well, I know what's right for the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. So, we're going to go into the limited cards now. Vanquishal Holisu being limited. So, in Master Duel, up to the release of Holisu, right, we saw a couple of Vanquishal cards get semi-limited. 3, I think, not just a couple. It was Raisin, Xiaolong, and Stake Your Soul. I think that limiting Holisu on top of that, in the current Master Duel format, might be a bit much, honestly. Like, Vanquishal Canine, while being one of the stronger decks in the meta, don't get me wrong, really has not been putting up the same level of results that it did in paper play on release, right? In both the TCG and OCG, the deck just totally dominated. But if you think about it, that kind of makes more sense in a best of 3 format, because Vanquishal Canine is really versatile and strong, but it's kind of bricky. And in best of 3, that brickiness factor is mitigated a lot more by playing 3 duels instead of just the 1, right? Whereas a bricky deck in a best of 1 format can and often will just lose, you know, the 1 game due to not opening a great hand. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I think that in Master Duel, like I said, limiting Holisu on top of the other semi-limits would actually be a little bit too much. I think that semi-limiting Holisu on top of Raisin, Xiaolong, and Stake Your Soul still being semi-limited, I think that would be fine for now. It would obviously also kind of depend on how big of a hits other decks end up taking, right? Because if they were to hit Draco Tail a lot, for example, but then not really touch Vanquishal Canine that much, then VS Canine would obviously just be like the best thing, right? So, but yeah, I think that a hit to Holisu is not unwarranted. I think the TCG recently did this as well, limiting Holisu. Okay, Droll and Lockbird. This is going straight from 3 to 1 in the OCG as opposed to in Master Duel where we have it at 2. I would not be opposed to the limiting of Droll and Lockbird, right? We definitely have seen that in recent months, Konami is starting to really tighten the numbers on the auth engine that is being played in every single deck, right? We've seen Max C go from 2 to 1 in both Master Duel and the OCG. Ash Blossom, I think, got semi-limited, if I remember right, in the OCG in a relatively recent ban list. And Droll and Lockbird are one of those very powerful hand traps that's been now limited in the OCG, as well as, again, getting hit in Master Duel as well. And again, I'm for it. Droll and Lockbird is a very powerful card that can be used both offensively and defensively. Defensively, I guess what I mean by that is you can use it against your opponent's Fuelos or Max C and still pop off without giving them draws, right? It's just a very versatile hand trap in what it does, and just really, really powerful. I think limiting is totally fine here. Okay, so in the OCG, Malice March Hare is getting limited, but you have to keep in mind that they have not limited Chessy Cat or White Rabbit yet. I believe Underground, Goldstark, and Allure are all at 1 in the OCG, but as opposed to Master Duel, where March Hare is the only Malice main deck monster that isn't limited. But I do think you need to limit a critical mass of Malice monsters because if you look at recent OCG tournament results, which by the way, we do very frequently over on the Patreon, when I talk about reviewing the OCG meta and comparing it to the Master Duel meta, a lot of the work that we do to kind of guess what is going to get hit in Master Duel and prepare new decks as they're coming into Master Duel, a lot of that work where we look at Road to the King and other OCG tournament reports, I record that and I put that over on patreon.com/hexlex. So if you feel like checking that out, link is in the description below. Hugely appreciate the support there. You'll get those exclusive videos every week, and you'll also get your name at the end credits of every video. But anyway, yeah, so if we look at OCG tournament results, even from like this latest week on Road to the King, you'll see that Malice is actually still doing extremely well in the OCG. It's still like a tier 2 bordering on tier 1 deck. Keep in mind too, this is after Splash Mage got banned. I will die on this hill. Splash Mage did not make Malice broken. Splash Mage is only as good as the best Cyber Stack. And even then, we're seeing that far and away the best Cyber Stack in the OCG Malice does not need Splash Mage in order to do well. So at the end of the day, you really do have to hit a critical mass of Malice cards. The deck is just that good. So limiting March Hare, I think, is totally fine. I also think it's totally fine where Malice is at in Master Duel right now. I don't think it needs any further hits, but this was definitely the right call. Sangan Kaiman going to 1 is whatever. I mean, in Master Duel, Tenpai isn't really doing that much, but obviously going second deck in a best of 3 format is a little bit different than a best of 1 format, considering you get to play at least one of your games, you know, where you are going to guarantee to go second. I mean, I guess to be fair, that happens in best of 1, right? Where you're always going to go second. But you're a lot more, like, susceptible to just losing your opponent's turn 1 board. I don't know. Either way, this is totally fine. This card going to 1, I don't really care about it. Either way. Secret Village of Spellcasters going to 1, totally fine. This is banned in Master Duel. Yeah, this did get banned in Master Duel. So, yeah, Floodgates getting hit in any amount is always good, I think. Generally speaking, I mean, it depends on, because, I don't know, some people have really weird definitions of what is a Floodgate, but I think that Secret Village totally falls in that camp, and I'm not sad to see copies of this card go. Mitsurugi Prayer is going to 1. I love this limit. I like this a lot more than hitting Habakiri, because I think that Prayers is actually probably just the most broken card in Mitsurugi. It's insane. It does literally everything. It searches your plays, set them up. It can extend your plays very greatly, not only with more searchers, but with a body from the graveyard. It's a quick play spell that tributes, meaning that it can let you dodge stuff like Imperm and other negates that specifically hit something on the field, or if they're trying to like destroy your Mitsurugi monsters or whatever. And then obviously your ritual monsters will just come back after being tributed by Prayers. The thing about limiting Habakiri that I've never really liked is that limiting Habakiri hurts pure Mitsurugi way more than decks that are just splashing it, right? You know, we've all seen the memes as these recent cards are coming out, you know, all roads lead to Habakiri. There are a ton of ways to search Mitsurugi Habakiri from deck to hand, especially recently, which means that limiting it really doesn't do that much to stop it being used as an engine. Again, you're really going to hurt pure Mitsurugi a lot more by doing that. Granted, Pyramid Tsurugi is still a really, really good deck in both Master Duel and the OCG, and it probably should get hit. So I think Limiting Habakiri is still mostly fine, but I really, really like Limiting Prayers. I think that's an excellent hit. I think Rahu Draco Tail to 1 is also an excellent hit. I've seen some debate on whether or not Draco Tail should get hit in Master Duel, and I think it should, right? Like, while it is true that Draco Tail traditionally in paper play was the least powerful of the Justice Hunter's archetype, it's simply not the case in Master Duel, especially with Yummy taking such severe heavy hits before it even came out, and Vanquish Soul Canine also taking a bunch of consistency hits, while Draco Tail gets to walk free. It has definitely been the best deck in the meta. Not by a lot, mind you, but for the past couple of months, I feel it's been pretty clear the top dog, so I think it does deserve a hit. And I actually think Rahu Draco Tail Limit is the perfect hit, because on the other side of the coin, I've seen people say that Draco Tail needs to get hit into the ground, and they talk about, like, limiting 5 mana. I think limiting 5 mana is a bit much, because that is how the deck kind of lives and dies, right, is by 5 mana. And a lot of what is so powerful about Draco Tail is its ability to go second, not only with its hand traps, with its turn 0 plays. So between that and also the fact that if you banish 5 mana, that's just, especially if 5 mana is at 1 and you banish it, that means that Draco Tail is just going to have so many less opportunities to actually fusion summon on their turn. I think that would hurt the deck too much. I think limiting Rahu is great. I think Ketu could also go to 1 and that would be fine. But yeah, good hit. I like it. Dimensional Barrier to 1 is fine. It's whatever. Is anything besides Labyrinth even playing 3? To be fair, OCG, you know, we gotta consider best of 3. There's side decks, right? And that's a lot of why D Barrier is getting hit. And I don't know. It's not a hot take at this point. It was a little bit in 2022 when I first said it, but like, yeah, I think the side deck needs to go. It's just not fun, right? In Yu-Gi-Oh's past, the side deck did offer some interesting opportunities, but I don't know. For the last, I feel like, few years at this point, the side deck is all about going first, all right, jam a bunch of Floodgate trap cards like D-Barrier. Going second, all right, just jam a bunch of hand traps. Like, it's just not interesting anymore. Harpy's Feather Storm going from 3 to 1. So this is likely because of Radiant Typhoon, but you're not really seeing Radiant Typhoon on Harpy's Feather Storm that much in Master Duel. That's because, you know, in paper play, again, with the side deck, a lot of the time, Radiant Typhoon will be side decking the Feather Storm for when they know they're going first. This is also kind of the same reason why I don't think Feather Storm is great in a best of 1 format in Radiant Typhoon, and I also said that when Radiant Typhoon first came out, and got a lot of pushback in that first video where I said that, but now here we are about a month later, and we can clearly see there's so much shadow to show that in Master Duel's best of 1 format, indeed, it is not necessarily optimal to play the Harpy's Feather Storm, right? But again, if you are in a format with side decks and you know that you're going first, then bringing in those Feather Storms makes a lot more sense. So for the OCG, again, where best of 3 is a thing, I think that limiting Feather Storm makes sense. I would not be sad to see that happen in Master Duel either. I just don't think it's as necessary. So those are really a lot of the big things I wanted to talk about, is the changes of cards going to 0 or 1. As far as the semi-limited and unlimited cards, these are all cards that were at 1 or 2 or whatever, and then are now going to 2 or 3. So I don't have as much to say about them, but Diabellstar going to 2. So in the OCG, I think they kept, if I remember right, they kept Wanted at 3 and limited Diabellstar, as opposed to Master Duel, which limited Wanted and kept Diabellstar at 3. So if you were to translate this to Master Duel, the change would be like putting Wanted to 2, which I think would be fine. Zodiac Rapier going to 2, this could be a 3, it would be fine. Okay, here's something that I have a lot of criticism about, actually, are these 3 changes right here. Normally, I like to praise... Well, actually, I don't really do that much, do I? I mostly praise Master Duel, not the OCG, for being so quick to take cards off the ban list. In paper play, but in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, this is absolutely the worst. But even in the OCG, too, they're really slow to, like, remove the limits on decks from the past that are definitely no longer an issue. And we're seeing that here with Sprite Blue and Tier Limits Rhino Heart only just now going to 2. Granted, again, I do think the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is way worse about it. It's one of the main reasons why I can't stand the TCG ban list. Just a reminder, Prank Kids Meow Meow Moo is still banned in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. Just let that sink in for a second. Okay, anyway. So, yeah, Blue and Rhino Heart are totally fine at 3, let alone 2. And another big criticism of how they're handling Sprite in the OCG is that they have unbanned and are now loosening the restraints on Totally Awesome rather than Sprite Elf, which I think is a huge misstep. I think that Master Duel has shown us that Sprite Elf is fine. Like, it is a strong card, and it is, like... It crops up every now and then as part of, like, tiered strategies in Yummy, most recently, of course, but it's never been the reason why a deck is OP or broken, except for Sprite. It is obviously core and crucial to the Sprite strategy. Sprite is very much limited in what it can do without Elf being legal. Now, granted, Sprite Elf was also largely abused in tier limits where it would revive Merly. Of course, Master Duel solved this by banning Merly, because even if you ban Elf and Merly is legal, you can still use Sprite Sprint to dump Merly. That doesn't change necessarily the Elf or the Sprite tier limit interactions there, right? So I think that banning Merly and having Totally Awesome banned was definitely the right call. Totally Awesome is just way more abusable than Sprite Elf, right? For one, the effect is obviously way different and way more impactful. Like, yeah, Elf's target protection and revive on the opponent's turn do have a lot of impact, but I think it's pretty clear that the Totally Awesome negate is definitely going to do a lot more as far as stopping your opponent more often at a time, right? Totally Awesome also abusable with cards outside of Sprite, such as Bahamut Shark is the big one, of course. Yeah, I think they made totally the wrong move here. I think Totally Awesome should have stayed banned. I think Merly should have gotten banned, and Sprite Elf should have come back. I think the way that Master Duel handled that was superb. Okay, Metamorphosis coming back is totally fine. This card's whatever. Trickstar Reincarnation. This is already at 3 in Master Duel and doesn't see any play. Dragoon is going from 1 to 3. There's like 0 difference between that. Well, okay, that's not true. The Dark Magician deck does have an end board where it puts out 2 Dragoon, but like, it's Dark Magician. That's completely fine. And then Sprite Starter going from 2 to 3 is obviously completely fine as well. So overall, I think this is a really good ban list from the OCG relative to their format. And there are quite a few changes here that I would not mind seeing in Master Duel. But definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you as always for watching, especially till the end. That does make a lot of difference. So I really do appreciate your support. And let's go ahead and move on now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.